All right, we are back. CouchPotatoGM.com is the website. Couch Potato General Manager is the YouTube channel. You know it because you are on it. We're here to talk about the Green Bay Packers NFL Draft Recap 2019. What is it? Hashtag Go Pack Go?
Go Pack Go. Packer Nation.
Hashtag Cheeseheads? Is that one?
Cheeseheads.
Okay, just want to make sure I get them all in there. Let us know if we miss one. We'll stick it in there.
I don't think that was it.
Lambo
I
Leap.
think you got it the first time.
Oh, yeah. Let us know where we got you. We got you. Just let us know. We'll hit it down in the comment section. But we're here to talk to Packers, man. They looking beefy. They're looking strong. They're looking fat up front. Defensive.
Yeah, what they did from last season to this season, man, I think they're the most improved defense. What they did in free agency and the draft that we're going to speak about, adding the Adrian Amos. Safety was a big issue for the Green Bay Packers last season. Getting Preston Smith on the edge to go with Zadarian Smith. Pass rushers can get after the quarterback. Yeah, that defense is big, it's physical, and they've added players to get after the quarterback, something they haven't done in recent memory.
So we know they had the 12th pick overall. And they selected Rashan Gary. I don't know if he's a defensive tackle. I don't know if he's a defensive end from Michigan. We like him where? Defensive tackle. But he might play defensive end in the 3-4 for Green Bay. And this is a guy who was strong at the point of attack. I mean, this dude was just walking folks back into the quarterback's lap. I feel like Michigan might have done him a disservice by playing that defensive end. A lot of people... You know, I know he's got the crazy traits and he's big and he's strong. The one thing I challenge though, does he have the bend and the flexibility to continuously play defensive end and give you what you want from the end position? Defensive tackle, he's giving me everything I want from a defensive tackle.
Yeah, man, this guy was a big time prospect, Rashan Gary, 5-star. He came into Michigan and he underachieved. He didn't play up to that 5-star billing. Like you said, man, they played him a lot at end. I liked him better inside as a defensive tackle. His take was a lot better in 2017 also. Seen him loafing at times in 2018. So, you know, just as a passion for the game and his energy level, that got to be questioned also. But those traits, those tools,
can't teach it.
You can't teach it, man.
Those tears were real though. Draft night. I mean, so when you talk about passion, I think there was some injury concerns. Now, whether or not he could have played through certain injuries, whatever the case may be, I think that can be debated, but I'm not going to go there per se. I think with Gary, because there were a lot of different opinions on Gary.
Yeah.
There was a thought process that he could go as high as maybe top 6, and then there was a thought process where he could go, you know, around pick 18, 20-ish. You know, the Panthers at 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was this really kind of big, you know, a window in terms of where he could end up, and depending on, you know, who was on the clock, who traded up, what the thought process of, did you think of him more as an edge defender versus an interior guy? I think we've said it before, and we'll continue to say it again. We use Ed Oliver as a perfect example. You at the NFL level, it has to be about putting guys in a position to be successful. Put them in their optimal position so that they can pay dividends. Yep. It's not that Gary can't do multiple things. It's about putting him in a position to do what he does best. You know, and that is be a disruptive force. That's what he did. The production, there's some question marks there. Understandably, I think some of that is scheme. I also think some of that is on him. Yeah. You know, so a couple different parties culpable there. But again, you mentioned it, the traits, the physical tools that he has. I think he has a passion for it. I think he just was thinking business. Yeah. That's what I think. Okay. I think you put him in next to Kenny Clark on passing downs, I think it's gonna be trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be trouble. I think being next to him, being next to Mike Daniels, I think that's going to push him. I think it's going to drive him. You understand what I'm saying? I think sometimes it depends. I mean, he was a big man on campus since he was a freshman. You know what I mean? I think, you know, whether he gets humbled in training camp or just feeds off of the guys around him, I think he's going to be a better pro than he was a college player.
Yeah, I believe that. Definitely. With their second first-round pick that they stole from the Saints, they selected a guy who you know, he kind of shot up the draft boards
after that combine.
Yeah, I mean he showed out in a Darnell Savage safety from Maryland, a guy who can play nickel, a guy who, man, I got in my notes like 7 times coming downhill just making plays. Like this dude comes with the, you know, Green Bay's got a couple of corners that got swag. got that. You know, hey, we out here, we doing things. You know, and this dude is right along with that type of mentality, that culture that they want to build in that locker room. I mean, this dude, every time he's making a tackle, bro, he got something to say to somebody, man, or sticking his head in there. But and you talked about in terms of the safeties earlier, man. What's his name? Jones.
Josh Jones.
Josh Jones is probably gonna be up out of there because they're talking about. I think he's on the trade block at the moment. So throwing in a Savage. I mean,
you got dogs and savages out there.
Dogs, savages.
You got it all.
Just to think what Green Bay has done to their secondary over the last 2 seasons. Yeah, they drafted Jaire Alexander, Josh Jackson last season. My number 1 and 2 corners in the class. They bring in Adrian Amos, which is kind of a forgotten guy with the emergence of Eddie Jackson, but he's studly. And they had a big issue at guarding the slot receivers last season, the slot corners. Darnell Savage can do that. So can Adrian Amos. But Savage can do that also. He's a downhill blur. He had that 4.3 40 at the combine, and he plays to that speed, man. Sometimes he comes a little too aggressive and miss a tackle here and there, but
take that
physicality, that swag that he's gonna bring with Jaire Alexander, another guy with swag. Yep. I like what this Packers defense is doing up front and on the back end as well.
All right, in the second round with the 44th pick, the Packers selected guard center Elgton Jenkins from Mississippi State. Watching Mr. Elton's tape, or I guess it would be Mr. Jenkins' tape. He played all three positions. He played tackle, he played center, he played guard. So that tells you he's versatile, obviously. There was an issue I had with him, and I don't know if I'm overly upset about it, because he's playing behind, or he's gonna be playing in front of Aaron Rodgers, and he does give me versatility. So I'm happy about that. Is he don't give you a whole lot of push. He's not moving anybody. But what he's gonna do is you're not getting past him.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna work with that.
Yeah.
We'll get you a little bit stronger. We'll get your leverage right so you can start moving some folks. But if nobody's getting past you, ain't worried about it. And he works well in confined spaces.
Yeah, man. He has a lot of attributes that NFL teams gush over, man. He's versatile, like you said. He played all positions. I think he played all 4 offensive line positions except for right guard. He has a strong understanding of the game. He's a leader on the football field. But the big issue I have with Jenkins is the nastiness. He's just not nasty. Like you said, he's not moving people. He's more of a finesse offensive lineman, which, with Aaron Rodgers, maybe you want a guy like that. But for Green Bay to take their team to the next level, I think they need a running game and they need to be physical in the line of scrimmage. So Jenkins, we're going to see. I'm waiting to see approach for Jenkins for me.
So let me ask you a question about Jenkins. Zone? Zone, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's about. I think that's what they're going to employ now with Matt LaFleur now in the fold as a head coach. Apparently Aaron Rodgers seems to be happy, seems to be okay with this particular hire. It's very important. You got to keep 12 happy. But I think they're going to try to get that outside zone like Aaron Jones, and you need guys who can kind of reach and get there. Maybe not necessarily blow guys off the ball, but be able to get there. You understand what I'm saying? Reach, lock, stretch plays, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think when you talk about that game day roster, that versatility comes in big.
Oh yeah.
And this guy, I have a feeling he's going to end up starting sooner rather than later. There's some transition going on along that offensive line. And not to mention they've dealt with injuries along that offensive line. Yeah. So I think it's actually a really good pick. He has some things to work on, like you mentioned, functional strength, and get a little bit more dog associated with him. But I think because they're employing a zone scheme, I think he'll be just fine.
All right, in the third round with the 75th pick overall, the Packers selected, and this was a long time coming, I think, a lot of mock drafts early on had the Packers taking tight ends all over the place with either one of the first 2 picks, whether it be Hockenson or Fan, or I've seen an Irv Smith one. They got Jace Sternberger. Let me know if I killed his name. I don't think I did. That's it. Tight end from Sternberger. Okay. I got him. Okay. Right. It's not with a U, with an E. Got him. From Texas A&M, and watching this dude's tape, I had no idea what to expect. But I got my notes. So the very last thing I say, to me, he's an athlete playing tight end, and he's growing into the position because what he knows he has to do in terms of blocking is getting his hands on you first, getting that punch out first. All right, and he played all over the place at Texas A&M, whether it be wide, slot, at the inline tight end, and I love guys who are big and who get out on their route and are willing to show their numbers to the quarterback. That's Jace.
No, Jace, man, Sternberger, man. He's kind of right now a wide receiver masquerading in the tight end's body. Yards after the catch. That's what stood out to me, man. Once he catches the football, he's a threat to gain additional yardage after the catch. He's just another receiving option for Aaron Rodgers. They invested heavily in wide receivers last season. This season they got Sternberger to mold him under Jimmy Graham. I think this is an excellent pick, man. What the Packers did, like you said, they could have drafted a tight end first or second round, but they got 3 starters in their first 3 picks, and then end up with a Jace Sternberger, who's one of the best receiving tight ends in this draft class.
And I think the thing about Sternberger is, he is a move tight end that you say is getting better. Initiating that contact and holding up in the run game is that he's probably going to be thrust into, having played his last season here in a pro-style offense at Texas A&M, he's probably going to be thrust into a role where he has to play significant snaps. That generally isn't the case with tight ends. They generally take a little bit longer. The learning curve is very difficult. But given his skill set and what you have on the roster, which is Jimmy Graham, who is a situational player at this point. That's where he is. His body is at the point where he's a situational player. So you're probably going to see Jimmy Graham predominantly inside the 20. That's when you're going to see him. Mercedes Lewis is obviously your run blocking tight end. You understand? So you'll see those guys rotated in, but I think they're going to interject Sternberger sooner rather than later and get him some reps as he learns from those two and get on the field, because he's the one guy that if catches the football, he's going to make plays after he catches it.
In the 5th round, the 150th pick, the Packers selected Kingsley Keke?
Kingsley Keke.
That's how you say it? Defensive tackle, Texas A&M. Watching this dude's tape, man, he's playing in a 3-4 system. They had him at nose tackle. They played him a little bit at defensive ends, kind of all over the place. Strong at the point of attack, taking on double teams. It was interesting.
Yeah, man. He actually was a tackle. He lost 20 pounds to play defensive end for that defense. But when we watched him in the Senior Bowl, this guy flashed. He flashed time and time again, man. His athleticism, getting to the quarterback as a pass rusher. It'd be interesting to see what Green Bay does with him. They run a 3-4 base defense, but let's be honest, man. Teams are in sub package most of the time. So with him, with Rashan Gary, with Kenny Clark, these are just Lego pieces that you can move all around defense. Adrian Smith. There's so many different guys with a versatile skill set on this defense.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you with respect to their the collection of talent that they brought in. Obviously placing an emphasis in terms of affecting the line of scrimmage, displacing and then ultimately getting after the passer as well. I think they're going to be able to have a nice rotation here. You're talking about a lot of guys who can affect the passer. May not necessarily scream off the edge and be the 10 to 15 individual sack guy, but collectively they're going to make a lot of noise and really be disruptive up front. Keke's another guy, not unlike Gary, that was played out of position a little bit. His natural position is inside. And again, if we're talking about an odd man front in the base, these guys are going to be playing end. They're going to be playing a 5 technique of sorts. But ideally you want to get all those guys on the field at some point. You know what I mean? But think about it. When you think about what they can do in terms of getting fresh bodies in and really getting the most out of these players, they're going to be able to do that because they have so much depth. They've acquired so much depth in that front 7 now.
And you think about Mike Daniels, he's a dominant force, but he dealt with injuries last year. You might not want to play him as much snaps as he usually does. So having these guys like Keke and Gary to go along that defensive front, man, is it's great.
It's impressive. It's impressive what the Packers have done. Really understanding, all right, we can't do this anymore. It's been far too long. We really liked what they did in terms of doubling down in terms of the cornerback position last year. Really like those 2 prospects. Think they're just going to get better. Love Jair Alexander. They're just going to get better. You really solidified the last line of defense in terms of your safeties. We like what they got at the linebacking position inside too. We didn't really get to see it all because Orenberg's got hurt. But certainly I think there's a lot of talent there as well. Another Senior Bowl participant. When you add Keke and Gary to Daniels and Clark, then you add Preston Smith and the Zedarius Smith. Not only are you stout, because that is stout. There aren't too many defensive fronts that are that big, number one. But they're actually going to be able to get after the passer. Again, may not necessarily have that individual who's going to get, 12 to 15 sacks per se, but collectively, I think this group can do a lot of damage.
And then you talk about the Packers who are usually in the playoffs, and they're going to make that run. They're going to need those bodies. So there you go. You have it. In the 6th round, the 185th pick, the Packers selected Ka'Dar Hollman. Let me know if I killed his name. Cornerback out of Toledo. And watching his tape, it is a man-to-man corner, kind of turn and run at times. Played plenty of off coverage, but he played a lot. When he was off coverage, it was man-to-man. When he was on coverage, it was man-to-man. He played a little bit of cover 3, turn and run type of thing. I had one note that I had one concern. He didn't want anything to do with the run game. Like nothing.
Like business decisions?
Like I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna run past the run, and it's gonna run past me, and then it looks like I'm doing my job, but I'm not really doing my job.
See, that's how you don't make a team, because you're a later round draft pick, and you need to play special teams, so you need to have that dog in you. So he need to get that together if he wants to see the field on the defensive side of the football.
The second 6th round pick, the 194th pick, they selected. How this man fell so far, I don't know. We talked about it off air. Dexter Williams, running back from Notre Dame.
Yeah, this guy's my running back sleeper, man. I was really impressed with his tape. At the running back position, man, I think you just look at a running back's feet. And you see how patient Dexter Williams is. He knows when to be patient. He knows when to hit the hole and burst through the hole. He as a pure running man, I think he's top notch. It's just pass blocking, pass catching, those things. That's what he needs to work on to get on the field. Yeah. But if Aaron Jones goes down and the Packers can't rely on Jamal Williams, I think this guy could start in spells for the Green Bay Packers.
I don't know if McCarthy was still there. I'm not sure this guy actually gets a shot ever. He might get like 3 snaps a game because they like to play hot potato with the running backs. But yeah, I would definitely gonna get some running. He might end up displacing or stealing some carries, definitely. Because in the 7th round, last pick, 226th pick, they selected Ty Summers, inside linebacker from TCU. And when you think about, we talked about the defense, right? We talked about what they want to do up front, all the beef up front. When you have all the beef up front, when you talk about specifically a 3-4, who's gonna eat behind that beef? Who's gonna eat behind that beef? The linebacker. So when I watch Ty Summers, what I see is a guy who as long as things are clean and he will come downhill. Sure. He will diagnose, but if you keep him clean, he will make plays. And he looks good in pass coverage, whether it be zone or man. The issue I had is he's not overly fast, he's not overly quick. So obviously he's a 7th rounder. He's not to me. He may be sparky in terms of running a 40 and doing drills, but in terms of watching the tape, he didn't look too sparky to me. But he wouldn't surprise me if he flashes. If somebody gets hurt linebacker wise, and he comes on the field and he starts flashing.
Man, I was really impressed with this draft, but I'm really impressed with your football team right now, man. I think it's the best Packers team that we're going to see in a long while. I think they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs, man. And you got Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback.
We like what the Packers have done with the roster. Again, by all accounts, things are going great, going swimmingly with Matt LaFleur now in control, running this offense. There should be some innovation. There should be, things should be made a little bit easier. Although 12 can make it happen regardless, things should be a little bit easier. It shouldn't be an exercise in pulling teeth to get first downs. To me, this team is flying under the radar a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's crazy with Aaron.
And exactly. The injuries have kind of piled up on both sides of the ball, and to 12 for that matter. Over the last couple of seasons, I think if he's healthy and he's feeling good about this offense, like we talked about it, Aaron Jones being on the field, Devontae Adams has clearly blossomed to one of the better receivers in the NFL. We love what they've done at every single level of their defense over the last 2 off seasons. If they can put it together, this team can make, to your point, a really deep run. They can make a really deep run.
Yeah.
Packers Nation, let us know how you feel about the video. What are your takes on some players? Who do we miss? You want to talk undrafted free agents? Hit us up in the comments section. Like, subscribe, comment, and also spread the word, man. Y'all got a big old nation. Spread it to everybody. Let's talk, man. Chat it up and shit.
Pain is in the